Oh my God. Oh my God. Hold on, let me push this camera back so. Okay. There we go. Brothers, I was about to have a fucking heart attack watching that goddamn game. Oh, I'm trying to get over it. Thank God. Thank God number 68 did not did not report to the officials. Thank God. And they showed the replay because I know Detroit Lions fans, they always like to say Detroit against the world. The refs are against us. In a lot of ways, they are. I've noticed. I know Detroit, they all, a lot of times they do get the short end of the stick. But this time there was video evidence, Lions fans. He did not report. Okay? He didn't report. Okay. And this game didn't have any blatant missed calls or anything like that. So Detroit Lions fans, I know y'all are passionate about your team. Your team has clinched the NFC North. Y'all wanted to beat the Cowboys. I know a lot of Lions fans, they hate us. They can't stand us. Besides their rival in the Green Bay Packers, I think they hate us more. But the Lions came to play. There was no shenanigans going on with the refs in this game. It was a mostly clean game. Calls that needed to be made were made. Number 68 did not report, and a lineman was also uncovered too. So even if he did report, it still would have been a penalty because no one was covering the person who called in, who would have called in to the officials. So it would have been a penalty anyway. Cowboys fans, we needed this win. After the last 2 weeks, all the bullshit that we had to deal with. We had to deal with Bills Mafia and those dick-sucking fans. Like, I have nothing against the Buffalo Bills. I can't stand the fans, though. The fans, they act like Josh Allen is the greatest thing under the sun. And, they just talk big shit. We're responsible for 2 of your losses. Just Super Bowl losses. Just know that, Bills Mafia. But I digress. Then we had to deal with the bullshit in Miami. Brothers, I know a lot of y'all don't believe me. My camera was broken, okay? My camera was broken. I know you don't believe me because of the timing, but my camera was broken. I couldn't make a video last week. New camera now. Cowboys win a Saturday night thriller in Arlington. I'm damn. You can see my eyes. My eyes are red as fuck, man. That's how stressed I am over this damn game. I'm just glad we pulled it out. Oh, my fucking God, man. Dak Prescott had a really good game. CeeDee Lamb had a monster game. He set the Dallas Cowboys franchise record for catches and yards. Catches and yards. Had over 200-something yards today. He was a fucking beast. If anybody needs to be in MVP, it needs to be CeeDee Lamb. But they're not going to give it to a wide receiver. If they better not give this shit to Tyreek because CeeDee Lamb is not that far behind. He's not. CeeDee Lamb is having just as an impactful year as Tyreek Hill. Sorry, but he is. And the thing is, Tyreek Hill has Jalen Waddle on the opposite side. I know we got Brandon Cooks, but we don't have anything of Jalen Waddle's caliber on the Miami Dolphins. So CeeDee Lamb is doing this essentially on his own. Now, Brandon Cooks, here or there, he can catch you off guard. He got a touchdown today. But CeeDee Lamb was a one-man show. DeMarcus Lawrence. Even Micah Parsons. There were a lot of times where we were gashed today in the run game, but Micah Parsons and D-Law, they made some important tackles for losses. They made some important stops in the run game. D-Law especially. D-Law was fucking amazing today. He played his ass off. It's like whenever we play the Detroit Lions, D-Law he has something in him. I remember that playoff game in his rookie season. I remember that. We kind of shafted the Detroit Lions. Anthony Hitchens, that was a pass interference. And they picked up the flag. I wasn't complaining, but it's been almost a decade since that game, so I can admit that it was a shafted call. The Detroit Lions did get shafted, but D-Law, he always finds a way to play against the Detroit Lions. Man, I'm trying my best. Shout out to Donovan Wilson with a pick. Jordan Lewis had a pick. We had 2 picks We had 2 picks today off of Jared Goff. Brothers, I don't know if there's any way we can fix the problems that we're having right now, but our problems stopping the run and our problems running the football, we just better hope we catch fire and get lucky, or like somehow Tony Pollard can figure out a way to break through. Because this offensive line, man, it's not cutting it. Tony Pollard is not cutting it. A combination of Tony Pollard's ineffectiveness and the Cowboys' offensive line is what's stalling the run game. Now, we already know the problems on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to stopping the run. We just don't have the beef. We just don't have power up front. We don't have a solid box. When you look at our linebackers, I mean, you can't really consider Micah Parsons as a linebacker, and the reason why he's playing more linebacker now is to help stop the run. Most of the time, he has his hands in the dirt playing end. So you really can't consider him a linebacker, even though you can. But our linebackers, we just don't have the size. We don't have the strength to stop a team that's committed to running the football. I mean, that was apparent against Buffalo, very apparent. That was apparent against Miami, and it was apparent in this game. We have to figure out a way to become more. And the thing is, we can't acquire personnel. So we need to depend on these coordinators and these coaches to figure out a way to help scheme and bolster the running attack on both sides of the football, the defensive run stopping and the running attack on the offensive side of the ball. We need to figure out a way. Tony Pollard is more effective out in space, but to be quite honest, this isn't college, man. This is not college football. Like, you can't just always depend on running to the outside. Like, if we could make some design like schemes like San Francisco is good with zone runs. I've never seen a team like it, but we also don't have a Trent Williams. We can't just say we don't have a Christian McCaffrey either. So we can't just say, hey, let's do what the San Francisco 49ers do. We don't have the personnel. We don't have a Trent Williams. God, I wish we had Trent Williams. Tyron Smith is good when he's healthy, but he's never healthy. His back is giving him problems, and we got to find his replacement. We really do. We got to look for someone in the draft to replace him because we got to let him go. He's 33 years old. He's banged up. We don't have a Trent Williams on the left side. We don't have a Christian McCaffrey. We don't have that. So we have to figure out something. You can't really depend. Rico Dowdle was out today. Can't depend on him. We had little Deuce Vaughn in there. You can't really depend on him. And Hunter Lemke, you know what happened with him last week, fumbling at the goddamn 1-yard line last week. We should have won that game. But, brothers, this was a great win. We keep our NFC East. Keep the pressure on Philadelphia. We're keeping up pace to see if we can get a home game or a couple of home games. See if we can get the number 2 seed. But that's still in play now. We beat a fantastic Detroit Lions team. They have 11 wins. They won the NFC North. Detroit Lions are for real, man. They are for real. Even though their fans hate us, they can't stand us. And I love Sports Talk Detroit. I watch them a lot. They can't stand the Cowboys over there, but it's all love. It's all love. I mean, we don't have a reason to hate Lions fans. I know they have plenty of reasons to hate us, but we don't hate y'all like that. But the Lions are for real. They're not playing. They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. I just don't see. At worst, they'll be the number 3 seed. They can still go for the number 2 seed. But I think that's out of reach now with the Cowboys beating them. Yeah, I think that's out of reach now. So they're not good. They're going to be the 3 seed. I just don't see the 6 seed going into Detroit and beating them. I just don't. Whether that's well, the Rams have been looking good lately, and I think the Rams are going to be the 6th seed. I mean, Matthew Stafford going against his old team in Detroit. That's going to be a powerful narrative. That's going to be a great script to write. Sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes when I look at the NFL, I mean, I know the players aren't in on it, but I know sports betting is out of control, and I know the NFL wants to run certain narratives. Do I think some of this shit is scripted? I can't really say scripted, but I do think they make calls here and there that really pushes the team that they want to see. The team that has the most, who they can write most about, who the storylines can be heavy about, like they push them in that direction to win. You can actually see that with Detroit and Cleveland over the years. The refs do not like Detroit and Cleveland. They don't have the biggest fan bases in the league. For some strange reason, they always find a way to shaft the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions. It just happens. It happens. We've seen it over the years. We just got to admit that. When you look at certain teams throughout the league, like when you look at Philadelphia, when you look at Kansas City, even though they're trash right now, when you look at certain teams, they get the calls. Other teams, they never get the calls. Even when it's right there, they never get it. And Detroit is one of them. But I just don't see, it's kind of, even though Matthew Stafford and the Rams are on a tear, and they could do something to Detroit, they could. I just don't see the number 6 seed taking out Detroit. I think Detroit at minimum is going to go to the divisional round. I do. Detroit is good. They're built for success. Now, obviously, their secondary has a lot of problems. It's like Donald Trump said, they got lots of problems. and when you allow CeeDee Lamb to have 14 catches, 15 catches, maybe, I'm not sure if I'm being accurate here, but having that many catches for over 200 yards, you have like Brandon Cooks on the outside. I mean, they were just, Dak Prescott he had himself a day picking on this team with his weapons. He was having himself a day. And so that's one thing Detroit has to be aware of is that secondary. That secondary just isn't good. Like if a team can figure out a way to pick that up. Oh, and speaking of secondary, you want to know who I'm concerned about? I'm going back to the Cowboys. I'm concerned about DaRon Bland. Even though he leads the league in 8 interceptions, and of course he has the league record with 5 pick sixes, teams are still picking on him. There's something on film that teams are looking at where they just feel comfortable. They're not afraid of the big playability of DaRon Bland. They're not afraid. They pick on DaRon Bland. It's crazy. They don't do that to Stephon Gilmore. The only time they really go to Stephon Gilmore's way is when he's pushing off, when he's letting up, when he's giving the cornerback space, and the cornerback when he's giving the wide receiver space, and the receiver gets a quick slant or a quick curl route for a chunk, but maybe 8 to 10 yards. That's pretty much the only time they really go for Stephon Gilmore. They don't really go his way that much. When it comes to DaRon Bland, they basically dare him to jump the route or to stop them. I forgot the kid's name, Jameson Williams, the speedy kid for Detroit. He burned the fuck out of DaRon Bland. And this is not the only time. If you go back to the Seattle game, Geno Smith and DK Metcalf were picking on DaRon Bland. They were picking on him. They were killing him. They even had to switch and put Stephon Gilmore on DK Metcalf. That's how much they were cooking DaRon Bland. He was getting cooked in that game. He got cooked today. I mean, they didn't really have to do much in Buffalo because the running game was cooking us. Dalvin Cook's little brother, James Cook, was cooking us. No pun intended. But even in the Miami game, like, DaRon Bland didn't look so hot. So my thing is this. DaRon Bland, even though he has the ability to make game-changing plays, I don't want to go there yet, but it's almost as if he's a liability at this point. I really don't want to go there. I don't want to go there, but he has been picked on in teams. They keep attacking him. Something is there. Something is there, y'all. I'm just saying with DaRon Bland. I'm just saying. DaRon Bland is an issue. Stopping the run is an issue. Running the football is an issue. Dak Prescott is not an issue. Dak Prescott is, to be quite honest, Dak Prescott is the reason why we have 11 wins right now. You know, in previous seasons, we were winning in spite of Dak Prescott. This season, the reason why I'm supporting him now is because the only reason why we have 11 wins is because of Dak Prescott. Early in the season, you know, our defense was like winning. But after Trayvon Diggs went down, defense hasn't been our strong suit. It hasn't. It's been Dak Prescott. And since the San Francisco 49ers game, Dak Prescott has been on it. He is the only reason. Well, he's not the only reason, but he's the most important reason. He's the most important player. He's the reason why we have 11 wins. If we had Cooper Rush back there or Trey Lance back there, we would be fighting to get 7, 8 wins right now. That's the difference between Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. We would be fighting for a playoff spot against the Rams and Seahawks right now. And if we didn't have Dak Prescott, we would have lost against the Seattle Seahawks. We would have lost a lot of the close game, like the Chargers game. Dak Prescott was the reason why we won that game. Of course, Micah Parsons at the end with the pressure on Justin Herbert, with the sack on Justin Herbert. But we were in that game because of Dak Prescott's playmaking ability. And he used his legs a lot in that game. We would have lost against the Chargers. We would have lost against the Seattle Seahawks. There are a couple of games that we would have lost without Dak Prescott. I mean, last year we went on a run without him. But this season, no, man, that wouldn't have happened. So this is concerning for me. Even though we got the win against another terrific. Oh, and speaking of which, you know, there was this narrative that Cowboys couldn't beat good teams. We beat the Eagles. We beat the Lions. We beat the Rams. We beat the Seahawks. All of them are fighting for, or in the playoff mix right now, or have already locked in a playoff spot. So they can't say that against us. They can't use that against us anymore. They may say some shit that the Cowboys can't win on the road. You know, to be quite honest, that shit is overblown. It's really hard to win on the road in the regular season. It is. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And the thing is, we went against top-tier competition on the road. We went against the Niners. We went against the Dolphins. I mean, if you want to call the Bills top tier, I mean, but they are 9-6. Do you really want to call them that? But we went against top-tier teams on the road, okay? Teams rise to the occasion in the playoffs, but in the regular season, it's so fucking hard, man. Santa Clara is a tough place to play. It is. Miami, not necessarily, you know, the toughest place to play, but it's still on the road. And plus, it was during inclement weather. So, you know, this whole narrative that, oh, you know, the Cowboys can't win on the road, they can't beat good teams. Motherfucker, fuck you. We have 11 wins. We're in the playoffs. We can still win the NFC East. But there are some issues that we have to get lucky. When it comes to winning a Super Bowl or going deep into the playoffs, of course, it's all about talent and coaching, but luck plays into this as well. I really hope we find a way to get lucky. Number one, we have to try to avoid the not Detroit, but the San Francisco 49ers. We have to, if we can avoid them, even though they got trounced by the Baltimore Ravens. Don't get it twisted. The Niners are still the team to beat in the NFC. And we especially do not want to go to Santa Clara again. So we can postpone, we got to postpone that as long as possible. When it comes to luck, here's the thing. Number one, we have to luck out, and hopefully the Philadelphia Eagles, the way they've been playing, it's conceivable. We have to hope that they drop one against the Cardinals or the Giants. I can see them dropping one in New York. New York wants to beat them so bad, and they almost did it last week. We have to get lucky and have them drop one of those two games. And it can happen. That's when luck number one starts. Luck number two, avoiding San Francisco as long as possible and have someone else knock them out. Because another team that can knock them out won't have the matchup problems that we have against the San Francisco 49ers. Luck number three, we just have to hope that the teams that we go against don't exploit our weaknesses. Hopefully we can get them to play to our strengths. It can happen, turnovers here and there, or when a team falls behind against the Cowboys, when they feel threatened and they feel like they won't make much progress running the football, or they get away from it too quick, that's when we play to our strength. And we have to hope that we can hit that in the playoffs. We just have to hope that we don't go against a team that is dead set on running the football. The Detroit Lions had success today with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Man, I wish we could have had Jahmyr Gibbs. I really hate that Detroit drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. I was so upset during draft night. I really thought that Jahmyr Gibbs was going to fall late into the first round. But instead, Detroit was like, fuck that, we're going to draft him. And a lot of people questioned Detroit for doing that, but that was actually a smart move. That was a great move by drafting Jahmyr Gibbs. That really was. You see what he's doing? I wish he could do that for us. Like, goddamn. But of course, like I said, there are a lot of things that we have to. We can't update our personnel. This is about to be the last game of the season against the Washington Redskins. So we can't go into fucking week 17 and update our personnel. So we have to figure out a way to scheme around this shit, and we have to have some luck on our side. A lot of luck. And it takes a lot of luck to win a Super Bowl, to get to the NFC Championship game or AFC Championship game. It takes a lot of luck. People thinking it's all, talent, it's all coaching. No, luck plays into this shit. I'm going to regret saying this because I know Eagles fans are going to be like, they're going to be eating this shit up. The Eagles should have won the Super Bowl last year. They should have. But boneheaded penalties and a lot of luck really propelled the Chiefs to that Super Bowl victory. The Eagles had them dead set to rights. The Eagles should have won. So that goes to show even the best teams that should win don't always win. That shows, and it happens a lot. Luck. You need luck. I don't give a fuck. You need luck or the right script writers. I hate going right there. I hate going that way. But brothers, we just have to hope, and we're in the dance. We still have a chance to get a home playoff game. Let's just hope luck falls our way. Let's hope the odds are forever in our favor this season. Even though I pointed out a lot of our weaknesses, I'm happy with the win. Donovan Wilson, Jordan Lewis, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Brandon Cooks. Y'all had yourselves a game. Terrence Steele, fuck you. Tyron Smith, fuck you. And Eagles fans, fuck you. Brothers, this game right here took a couple of life points away from me, man. I'm not going to lie. But I'm glad it's over. I'm glad the Cowboys won. 11 wins on the season. Next week, we got the Washington Redskins. We have to finish them motherfuckers off. Put them out of their misery. Get to 12 wins. Let's have 3 straight seasons with 12 wins, 12 victories. And let's finally do something in the goddamn playoffs this season. All right, my brothers. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.